Hey, I'm Jared from Vacationeeze, and I'm so excited to be here with Alyssa and Dylan, who recently got married at Hotel Xcaret, Mexico. And they're here to tell their story about the planning process, getting married at Xcaret, which is a resort that a ton of people love, and to share a little bit behind the scenes. So, Alyssa and Dylan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us about your wedding?
Well, I'm Dylan.
And I'm Alyssa.
And we've been married for a whole month. And it was a wonderful wedding. Like I've been telling people this, like I'm biased because it was our wedding, but it was the best wedding I've ever been to.
And I do think it had to do like the planning process into the day of all of it
Mhm.
contributed to how amazing the day was.
I'm curious, so you got married at Hotel Xcaret. Did you always know you wanted to get married there, or what sort of drew you to Xcaret, and how were you thinking about the planning process from the jump, where you were trying to decide like where do we get married? Did you go down and visit the resorts, or what did you do?
It was fully thanks to you. We had no idea about Xcaret until you, Jared. We knew we wanted to have a destination wedding, and that was it. Somewhere kind of tropical, and that was all we kind of gave you.
Your guidance really helped us. And then once we decided on Cancun, you gave us a handful of options based off of like price and our different desires and things that
Mhm.
we wanted. But no, we never visited once.
No.
We literally trusted you and your guidance the entire time.
But it was very useful that you did go
Yes.
and you took some pictures and videos for us. And it made us feel a lot safer about the whole thing because when you're looking at pictures on their website, you never know like if you can trust it. But then when you went there and it was just as beautiful, it was like, okay, cool. It is gonna be amazing when we get there.
And Hotel Xcaret like has some of the most, it's one of the most uniquely designed resorts and some of the most gorgeous natural venues that any resort, a lot of resorts have gardens and terraces and beaches and some have rooftops and whatnot. But the venues at Xcaret are some of the most unique, gorgeous venues that don't need a lot of decor extras to really make them shine. I know in some of our conversations for like the welcome party, for example, like we were going back and forth on venues. And Pedro, who was our initial contact at the resort, was like, no, no, trust me, like when this is dressed up at night, it's gorgeous.
Mhm.
And I think ultimately you were pretty
It
happy with
was.
what that looked like.
Truly. And
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a perfect point. We didn't need to dress it up a ton. And
Hmm.
we loved that. We love the natural beauty that is literally everywhere you turn at Xcaret, Mexico. Like the vines and the trees and the caves and
Hmm.
the lazy river.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just like everywhere you turn is stunning. So
Hmm.
even for like the welcome party, we could have added flowers and decor and a bunch of stuff, but we chose not to because it is already so beautiful. They had bistro lighting, they put some tables,
Hmm.
and we had like
Very clean
the
there.
quesadilla cart and the taco cart, and that was it. And it was already so beautiful.
You wanted to create this experience for your close friends and family in addition to the wedding, right? And I'm hearing from a lot of couples that they want this now. It's not just a ceremony and a reception. It's a full weekend. It's a vacation for a lot of your closest friends and family. And so what you guys planned was a boat day, which I know we had a little bit of weather concerns, but we got through it. So can you share a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of couples are curious, like, when do I need to book that? And like, what's that going to look like? And I know you guys had a pretty interesting experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you helped us do all of that coordinating, which was so helpful because of the weather. And there was some issues with the weather, and maybe we couldn't take the boat out. And while we were in Mexico, you were like, "Don't worry, I got this," and you were like doing all the communication back and forth,
Mhm.
and it ended up, I think, being perfect. We didn't actually go out to sea, and we went into this little cove. They had like floaties and drinks and amazing food, like
Mhm.
five-star style spread, like multi-course. It was so
Mhm.
perfect. We
Mhm.
had like this floaty device in the water we were playing cards on. And that was one of the really fun experiences that we had outside of just the wedding
Mhm.
ceremony.
Yeah.
But another thing with sorry. Another thing with Xcaret that's amazing is like they offer so many activities for your guests. And one of the things that was offered, we didn't have to pay extra for it, was the Xoximilco, which
Mhm.
was another boat experience. And we planned that for our bridal party specifically. So the first night that everyone was actually together, we went out to the Xoximilco experience. And I'm not going to say too much about it, but I will say it was an experience and so much fun. But that was something that we could all enjoy as, just with our bridal party. but that was included in the cost. So you get so much more bang for your buck at Xcaret.
Yeah. And
It's
I just want to emphasize between you and our coordinator there, Yadi, making everything happen was super easy. It was like we weren't struggling to like plan this and get this done. We would just reach out to one of you guys like, hey, can we have this? And they're like, yes, I got it covered. Both of you were like incredibly helpful.
I love that. There's something fun that you said, and it's something I hear from prospective couples all the time. And that, on our initial call, I'll ask them a number of questions, when do you want to get married? When do you want to get married? Tell me about your friends and family, all that. And one of the most common phrases I hear from people is, I want somewhere that's reasonable for my guests. And of course, reasonable is sort of subjective, and everyone has a different sense of what's reasonable. And we talk through that. And Xcaret generally is on like the more expensive side of reasonable. I always try and show people like, yes, it might be a little bit more, but the amount of value you get, like you were talking about, you get access to all the parks, you get amazing food, you get a really unique resort with a ton of activities. And I think it's hard to, when you're just looking at a spreadsheet, it's hard to see that. But when you're there and you experience, you're like, oh wow, it really is a lot of extra stuff that you can do. If you're there for 3 to 7 days, you won't go bored.
Totally. We did not have enough time to explore the whole, even just the resort and the parks there. Like, we needed another week just to experience everything that's already there.
But when you're doing a destination wedding, it there is a little bit of stress and pressure added to it because you have all these people going to
Hmm.
a new place for you and your partner, and they all sort of want your attention. They want to spend time with you, rightfully so, right? But with Xcaret and having all of these experiences, a lot of people were kind of satisfied going off on their own, which takes a little bit of the pressure off of us.
Totally.
We don't have to split ourselves into a million different pieces in order to like make sure everyone's happy and taken care of. Everyone's sort of like, hey, we're gonna go do this. Do you want to? And we're like, no, okay. And they'll go off and do their own thing. So that was really helpful too, as being the bride and groom and everybody sort of like requiring your attention as everybody gets something to do.
Yeah. I mean, part of the beauty of a destination wedding is you're not just together for that little bit, but you have the longer time period. But to your point, it's nice that you don't have to feel like you're hosting everyone for the full
Mhm.
duration of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all got a vacation out of it too. Every one of us did,
Yeah,
which is nice.
it was perfect.
I love it. One of the things that I know when we initially spoke, um, you had said to me, hey, if we get married in LA, it's going to cost this. Is it really possible to get married in Mexico for like under 50K? And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. When we talked through your wish list. And so I'm curious, can you share where you ultimately netted out and compare that to what it would have been potentially if you stayed it and got married in LA?
It
Yeah.
was really close to 40,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Really close to 40,000 overall. That's like after everything, after the additional, like all the decor, the DJ, everything.
The welcome party.
Yeah.
And we had a couple guests staying offsite. So when you have guests staying offsite, you have to pay for them to like go to or they have to pay, but we decided to pay
Yeah.
for them. So like that cost is including literally everything.
Mhm.
So if you didn't add on extras to like the welcome party, it would be less. But we just the venue and for the food and for the wedding coordinator, like just the basic package, it was like $21,000.
It's crazy. And Xcaret, again, on the spectrum of things, is like one of the more expensive venues to get married at. And yet you can still save half compared to getting married at home. The other thing is Xcaret and how they approach weddings is a little bit different. And they have some in-house vendors, but then some preferred vendors. Can you talk to the vendor process? And did you have to go out and scroll Instagram to try and find a photographer, or how did that process work for you?
So they pretty much, we don't have to go searching for the DJs, the decorations, all this stuff. The coordinator that Eshkray gives you, that coordinator gives you options. Okay, you can choose between this and this and this and this and this and this.
Right.
And then it makes it so easy because we don't have to do any outside research. We just right there, it's all handed to us. We get to make our choice on this person, this company, done.
Yeah.
And then
Well, they had a prefer vendors list. And in
Mhm.
that list, it had the names, like Dylan said, and then it also had their Instagram. So between the two different decor companies. We looked on their Instagrams and we're like, okay, we kind of like this style better.
Mhm.
And then the hair and makeup, same thing, two different people. And so it narrowed it down to a point where it was like very easy for us to choose instead of going through like a sea of options. Well, also, I want to add, they allow you to bring outside vendors if you want to. We didn't want to bring outside vendors because there is a fee associated with that.
Yep.
But also, I felt just more comfortable using their preferred vendors because they work together already. That working relationship has already been established, so it makes it that much simpler when you get to like the actual setting up and the
Yeah.
execution of.
Yeah, and all the people there obviously know what they're doing. They did a great job. And
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, like the vendors, sometimes people ask me about the external vendor question, and they're like, oh, well, if they stay part of the room block, or how much are the fees and why are they nickel and diming me with the fees? I'm like, in the example of Xcaret, it's like they've already curated a list of some of the top vendors in the region. So it's not like these are, random people off the street, or that it's, only Xcaret employees. These are the top vendors in the region, and they're handing you on a silver platter, like, hey, here's the hair and makeup people who we know do a great job, know our resort well, know what to expect, and can work with you. So you're not doing all the research, you don't have to. And again, if you want to, that option still exists, but they're trying to make it as easy as possible, so you don't have to do any of that legwork.
yeah, and they were very professional, very friendly. Like I said, they clearly knew what they were doing, especially at Xcaret. Like we had a first touch,
Mm-hmm.
and all the photographers, like they knew exactly where, I mean, the location is massive, and they found the prettiest place,
Yeah.
on the whole resort to have us do this moment, and they like coordinated it beautifully between us. So they were very, very helpful, professional, kind, all the things.
Shifting gears a bit, the undertaking of planning a destination wedding, I think often is underestimated by a lot of people. And they're like, I can just do this myself. Or, if you get married in LA, again, it's like, you just pick a room block and people just go book it, no problem. But when it comes to a destination wedding in Mexico or the Caribbean, there's a lot of questions that people have. What's the 3-night rate versus the 5-night rate? Well, what's this calete fuego? And, all these other things that people want to ask on. And, which restaurants do you recommend? I want to do a nice thing with my significant other. Like, what do you recommend? All of these questions that come through that, if you don't work with someone like us, it lands on you as the host. And so I don't think people appreciate that do you really want 100 people contacting you asking, hey, did you take my deposit yet? And so I'm curious from your perspective on the other side of things, what was it like working with someone like us? And what was the feedback that you had throughout the process?
I'm just gonna say, don't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Don't even try. It's stress that you don't need in your life. Planning a wedding already there's a level of stress involved because there's this pressure, like it has to be the best. It's like the one day, it's like all of that is already looming around you. You need a company like Vacationeeze or with someone like you, Jared, to like help out in that process because yeah, you will be getting a million phone calls. There's a lot of people also that are like not reliable or trustworthy that you would find online. And just like Ashkret, like sourcing all of the vendors, like you also have sourced these resorts and established relationships with these people who do this for, a living. So I mean, yeah, there's also, like you said, the people calling you. How do I do this? What is the deposit
We
like?
had a lot of family members calling us and like
Still,
asking, but we were able to direct them to
Right.
you. Like we were like, he's got the answers. He can help you out with
even
everything you need.
even when we were on site, if we were experiencing an issue or a kerfuffle or something, we were able to call you and you were available and you handled it from the States. And so even when you're at the event, you having someone like you is so helpful because things are going to pop up. Destination weddings, like there's a lot of people traveling, some people that have never traveled before. We had people get their passports for our wedding. Like they'd never had a passport before. So like it's a new experience for a lot of people, and having just someone by your side throughout the whole process is so necessary. I can't imagine doing it on my own, honestly.
My final question is just, as you look back, again, as Dylan said, you're married a whole month now. So now you have the wisdom of marriage.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
so much wisdom.
so looking back, I mean, is there a moment from the wedding or the trip that like really stands out and that like captures the essence of like the celebration for you?
Dylan asked this question last night, and my first response was after the ceremony when we were walking down and he dipped me. And then, the photographers got the photo of everyone. We haven't gotten the photos yet, but I know that they were being taken in that moment. And that moment was just like sort of like a sigh of relief. Like there was all of this buildup and excitement and nervousness. And like I specifically was very nervous to say my vows in front of like everyone.
Mhm.
So it's like this whole buildup and the day, like we slept in different rooms the night before. So that was the first time we had seen each other that day. So like there was just like so much building up that in that moment was just like this sigh of just like,
Mhm.
oh, we did it.
Yeah.
And there was people cheering and it was like everyone that we loved was around us. And it was just really special, really, really beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know if I can give you just one moment because I remember the day of our wedding, I very intentionally took a bunch of moments to just be present and look around and realize where I am, what day this was, who's around me. And as you ask me that question, I can remember the 20 times I did that day,
I love
and I
that.
can visualize just it gives me goosebumps thinking about how beautiful all that whole day was. And every moment, like the ceremony, the reception, hanging out with my guys beforehand, like yeah, it's just perfect. The whole thing.
I love that. You two are the best. Thank you for sharing with me, and thank you for letting us be a part of your special day. And thank you for sharing this with all the future couples who will watch this video.
Thank you for making it
Of
happen.
course. Yeah, thank you.
Seriously. Wouldn't have happened without
She
you.